He lied to me. I didn't know he could do some of the stuff he did. No, but you know what though? I was really happy for Spudd. I mean, yeah, did I win that contest? Yeah, probably. But I was more happy for him than me because we were best friends.
Slam dunk champion with an incredible upset. Spud Webb.
You picked Dominique. I didn't think this guy had a chance.
How good was Spud Webb? So good that Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson couldn't stop saying his name. 5'7" point guard. Someone the world barely noticed. And then one night in 1986, he walked onto the floor at Reunion Arena in Dallas, Texas, and made everyone forget that height mattered. It sounds impossible. A dunk contest is where giants prove they are stronger and higher. The odds said he should not be there, the odds said he would lose. And then he won. He defeated the favorite. He changed the sport forever. 4 NBA legends looked back and tried to explain what happened. If you are enjoying the story, use the hype feature and give hype to the video. Now let's go back to February 8th, 1986. The contest took place when the NBA's best dunkers were all giants. The field included Terence Stansbury, Gerald Wilkins, Jerome Kersey, Paul Pressey, Roy Hinson, and Terry Tyler. All were professional dunkers with proven credentials. Then Spud Webb showed up. He was 5'7". He looked like he did not belong in the same building. The crowd did not take him seriously at all. The media called him a cute novelty. Fans thought he would dunk once and get knocked out early. Even his own teammate Dominique Wilkins, competing in the same contest, likely watched with amusement. This was supposed to be a coronation for power and height, but something was about to happen that nobody saw coming. Number 4 was Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers played alongside Spud Webb on the Atlanta Hawks. Rivers made a joke that Spud Webb would never live down this dunk contest, but the joke was hiding something darker, because what happened in 1986 was so big that it would define Webb's entire life. Rivers noted that despite playing for 12 full seasons, 814 games, averaging nearly 10 points per game, and being a legitimate point guard who ran offenses and won playoff games, Spud Webb would be introduced one way only. He would be called the dunk champion, not a basketball player, not a floor general, just the little man who could dunk. Rivers also noted that Spud had to use smarts to survive. He had to use basketball intelligence. But the world would never care. The world would only care about one night. Rivers was right. Years later, Spud Webb confirmed it. He said when he went places, people introduced him only as the 1986 dunk champion. He had played for 12 years, but nobody remembered anything except the dunks. He led the league in free throw percentage in 1994 and 1995, shooting 93.4%. That is incredible. That takes precision and practice. But nobody mentioned it. The shadow of that one night in February covered his entire career. Doc Rivers understood this. He saw his teammate become a moment instead of a player. Rivers was sympathetic. The spectacle was too bright. It consumed everything else. Number 3 was Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson saw the NBA differently than anyone else could. He understood entertainment. He understood what made fans fall in love with basketball. He understood marketing and narrative and the power of a good story. And Magic Johnson decided that Spud Webb belonged in the pantheon of the greatest dunkers of all time. Magic put Webb on the same list as Julius Erving, Michael Jordan, and Dominique Wilkins. Those were the 4 names Magic used when he talked about dunk contest history. Think about that. Dr. J changed the sport. Michael Jordan was the greatest player ever. Dominique Wilkins was a monster of power and athleticism. And then Spud Webb, a 5'7" point guard. Magic said they belonged together. Magic said the 1986 contest was not a fluke. It was a pillar of what he called the golden era. The golden era was the 1980s. It was when the NBA exploded into worldwide popularity. It was when the sport became cool. It was when basketball became more than a game. It became culture. And Magic Johnson was saying that Spud Webb was essential to that story. Magic knew why. The Webb story was perfect for marketing. It was David versus Goliath. It said that in the NBA, anything was possible. It said that height did not matter. It said that the impossible could happen. Magic knew that message sold. He knew that message made people believe in themselves. 20 years after the contest, in 2006, the NBA was trying to bring back the dunk contest. The contest had lost popularity. Fans were not as interested. The league needed something to work. They brought in a new champion named Nate Robinson. Robinson was 5 feet 9 inches. Robinson was another small man. And Robinson won against Spud Webb himself. He actually jumped over Webb during the contest. The crowd went crazy. The energy came back. The dunk contest was exciting again, and when Magic Johnson saw this happen, he stood up and he shouted. He said the slam dunk is back in the NBA. He shouted with joy like a child, and then he said the names. Dominique, Michael Jordan, Dr. J, Spud Webb. This is what we are talking about now, he said. Magic was connecting the 2006 moment to 1986. He was saying that what made the contest great in 1986 was happening again. And he could not say the names without saying Webb's name. Magic was validating Webb. He was saying Webb was essential. Webb was not a side note. Webb was a legend. Magic Johnson also featured Webb at his charity games. These games were the biggest off-season events in the late 1980s and early 1990s. They had the biggest stars in the world. Magic invited Webb to perform. Webb dunked at Magic's charity game in 1987, just 1 year after winning the contest. The crowd loved him. Magic kept inviting him back because Webb was a box office attraction. Webb could fill seats. Webb could sell tickets. That told you everything about how Magic saw Webb. Magic did not see a novelty. Magic saw a star. Magic saw legacy. Magic saw the beginning of something that would change the league. Number 2 was Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan did not compete in the 1986 dunk contest. He was not competing that night, but Jordan was paying attention. Jordan understood what Webb did because Jordan was the master of basketball aesthetics. Jordan cared about how the game looked. He cared deeply about the art of it. And Jordan recognized something crucial. He saw that Webb had started something entirely new. Jordan said that Spud started all that. Those 5 words held enormous weight. Spud started all that meant that Webb had started a revolution in how dunks were performed. Before 1986, the great dunks were done with the ball in the player's hand. Dr. J palmed the ball, Michael Jordan palmed the ball, Larry Nance palmed the ball. These players could hold an NBA basketball in one hand because they had huge hands and massive grip strength. With the ball secure in their hand, they could do anything. They could rock the baby. They could hold it out for a lean. They could cock it back for a tomahawk. The ball was an extension of their body, but Spud Webb was completely different. Webb was 5'7". His hands were very small. He could not palm the official NBA basketball the way the big men could. If he jumped with the ball in his hand, he risked losing it. He could not generate the spin and momentum he needed. He could not do the windmills. He could not do the advanced maneuvers. So Webb solved the problem. He used the floor, he bounced the ball off the ground, and then he jumped and he caught it and he dunked it. This was not a stylistic choice. This was necessity. It was innovation born from limitation. And Jordan recognized it immediately. Jordan understood the biomechanics. When you bounce the ball off the floor, your arms are completely free. You can run faster. You can jump higher. You can time your jump perfectly to meet the ball at its apex. You do not have to carry the ball up. You only have to catch it at the rim. And when the ball comes to you in the air, you catch it with 2 hands. 2 hands are more secure. 2 hands are more powerful. 2 hands look more impressive. Webb's bounce dunk opened the door for creativity. It meant that future dunkers did not need to be 7 feet tall with palm-sized hands. They could use the floor as a teammate. They could use timing and coordination instead of just raw hand size. Jordan saw this. Steve Francis did this. Jason Richardson did this. Nate Robinson did it and won 3 dunk contests. Zach Levine and Aaron Gordon used variations. They bounced off the backboard and the shot clock. Jordan understood that Webb had fundamentally changed the game, but Jordan was not entirely happy about it. Jordan had a purist view. He preferred the art form with the ball. He said that a lot of what came after was dunks done without the ball. It was all bouncing. It was not the art form with the ball. Jordan was saying that Webb changed things, and maybe the change was not for the better. The bounce brought luck into it. The bounce brought timing into it. It was not pure athleticism anymore. It was creativity and setup and coordination. Jordan respected the innovation. He admitted that Webb started it. But Jordan also seemed to regret where the dunk contest went after that. He wanted the pure art form, but he knew Webb had changed things forever. Number 1 was Dominique Wilkins. Wilkins was 6'8". He was known as the human highlight film. He had won the dunk contest before. He had been a perennial all-star. He was the true prototype of the modern dunker. He had power. He had grace. He had athleticism that seemed superhuman. Wilkins entered the 1986 contest expecting to win. He expected it to be easy. He was a teammate of Spud Webb on the Atlanta Hawks. They practiced together every day. They saw each other at the arena. Wilkins knew Webb as a point guard. He knew Webb as a good player but not a star. He knew Webb as someone who was useful but not dominant. And then the dunk contest happened, and Wilkins got blindsided. Wilkins said later that he was completely blindsided because he had never seen Webb dunk in practice. Never. In all the months of practicing together, Spud Webb never once showed Wilkins what he could do. Webb kept his dunking ability secret. Webb hid it. Webb did not practice his dunks where anyone could see. Webb did not show off. Webb stayed quiet. And then he showed up at Reunion Arena and he exploded. Wilkins said it first and it stuck. He said that Webb had duped him. He duped me, Wilkins said. Those words meant so much more than just losing. Duped means tricked. Duped means outsmarted. Duped means that Wilkins was beaten not just athletically, but strategically. The coach Mike Fratello corroborated this. Fratello said that Spud had kind of duped Wilkins. Fratello said that Webb had told Wilkins that he had nothing prepared. Webb said he had not practiced for the dunk contest. He said he was coming in unprepared. He said he was just going to have fun. It was a lie. It was a brilliant lie. It was psychological warfare. Wilkins believed that Webb had no dunks planned, so Wilkins did not prepare with Webb in mind. Wilkins prepared to face the other dunkers. Wilkins prepared to show off his normal assortment. And then Webb showed up and he was a completely different player. The contest itself was shocking. The preliminary rounds came first. Webb was still seen as cute, still seen as a novelty. The crowd did not expect much, but then Webb started unveiling his dunks. And the atmosphere changed. Webb had a 42-inch vertical leap. That means his feet came up 42 inches off the ground. On a 5'7" frame, that looked impossible. The visual contrast was stunning. A man that small should not have been able to jump that high, but he did. The judges started giving him high scores. Webb did things in the preliminary rounds that made the crowd lean forward. The final round was a showdown. Webb and Wilkins facing off. This was teammates against teammates. This was the favorite against the underdog. Webb brought everything. He did the elevator two-handed double pump. That dunk showed his hang time. He went up and he pumped the ball twice before he finished. He did the off-the-backboard one-handed jam. That dunk required perfect timing. He had to catch the rebound at the exact right moment. He did the 360-degree helicopter. That dunk showed his body control. He rotated like a helicopter blade. And then he did the reverse two-handed strawberry jam. That was the dunk that won the contest. Webb threw the ball off the floor and it came back up, and he caught it and he jammed it with both hands. And the crowd went insane. Webb got 2 perfect 50-point scores in the final round. 2 perfect scores. Wilkins was defeated. Wilkins brought his power windmills. Wilkins brought his strength. But Wilkins could not compete with what Webb did. And Wilkins admitted it. He said that Webb had duped him. He said it like he was acknowledging something bigger than just losing a contest. Wilkins later conceded that maybe Webb had actually won fairly. Wilkins said he could have possibly won, but he tipped his cap to the innovation. Wilkins was gracious in defeat, but he never forgot being blindsided. The dunk contest was supposed to be about athleticism. It turned out to be about strategy. It was about secrecy and surprise. It was about one player understanding that information was power. Wilkins had the athleticism, but Webb had the smarts. Webb knew he could not beat Wilkins with pure power and athleticism. So Webb beat him with psychology and preparation. Webb won the contest in the practice gym months before he won it at the arena. That is the story of how Spud Webb defeated Dominique Wilkins. 4 NBA legends, 4 different perspectives. Wilkins saw betrayal and strategy. Jordan saw biomechanical innovation. Magic saw validation and legacy. Rivers saw the shadow of one moment consuming an entire career. But they were all talking about the same night. They were all talking about February 8th, 1986. They were all talking about a 5'7" guard who walked onto a floor and changed basketball forever. He proved that height was not everything. He proved that smarts could beat power. He proved that the impossible could happen. He broke the height barrier. He showed future generations that they could fly too. Nate Robinson flew. Isaiah Thomas believed he could fly. Muggsy Bogues was validated just by knowing Webb had succeeded. The dunk contest stopped being about the biggest and strongest men in the world. It became about who could think the most creatively. It became about understanding your body and using the basketball and the floor as a tool. It became about innovation and adaptation. Spud Webb did that. One night, one contest, one man who decided that his height was not a limitation. It was his inspiration. He had to be smarter. He had to be more creative. He had to understand physics and timing and coordinate movement because he could not rely on palm strength and giant hands. And he figured it out. He won that dunk contest. And 40 years later, NBA legends still talk about it. They still credit him. They still remember what he did. Because Spud Webb did not just win a dunk contest. He fundamentally changed how the world looks at what is possible in basketball.